Hello everyone, welcome. In this video presentation, I'll talk about urea cycle and associated disorders. So we start with a problem. Urea is an essential molecule generated by the body for disposal of nitrogen. Which of the following is an immediate source of nitrogen for urea in the urea cycle? The answer is aspartate. As you might remember, urea is a molecule which have two nitrogen, and one of the nitrogen actually comes from aspartate and the another nitrogen actually comes from ammonia. Let's go to the next problem. An infant born to a 23-year-old female is diagnosed with an inherited condition that results in impaired transport of ornithine from the cytosol to the mitochondria. Restriction of which of the following substances in the diet can improve this patient's condition? The answer is protein. Why so? If there is an impaired transport of ornithine from cytosol to mitochondria, it would lead to a decrease or absent in the function of urea cycle. So if the urea cycle cannot run properly, then it will lead to excess accumulation of ammonia in the blood, and this occurs due to metabolism of protein and amino acid. So you have to restrict protein and thereby restrict amino acid to prevent excessive formation of amino acid and development of hyperammonemia. And you can also remember another thing, that urea cycle is one of the most important process that occurs in both the mitochondria and cytosol. There are two other processes that also occur in both the mitochondria and cytosol, which are heme synthesis and gluconeogenesis. So you can remember it by this mnemonic, which is HUG, H-U-G. So H for heme synthesis, U for urea cycle, and G for gluconeogenesis. We have another practice problem here. A 3-year-old male is hospitalized with progressive spastic paralysis of his lower extremities and choreoathetoid movements. Comprehensive laboratory testing reveals very high arginine levels in both the child's plasma and cerebrospinal fluid. The enzyme deficient in this patient is normally involved in the production of which of the following? The answer is urea. So here, arginine is one of the last metabolite in the urea cycle, and the enzyme needed to release urea from arginine is called arginase. So this patient might have a deficiency of arginase. That's why the patient will have a very high level of arginine and a low level of urea. So here we have the urea cycle. As you can see, this is the mitochondria and the white portion is the cytoplasm. So urea cycle is one of the processes that occurs in both the mitochondria and the cytoplasm. And the first process, our first step of this reaction, occurs inside the mitochondria, and it involves combining carbon dioxide with the ammonia to form carbamyl phosphate. As you can see here, this carbon dioxide took carb and amyl for ammonia, and the reaction is catalyzed by a very important enzyme known as carbamyl phosphate synthetase 1. And N-acetylglutamate is an important cofactor for this enzyme to work. And after carbamyl phosphate is formed, it combines with ornithine to form citrulline, and the important enzyme that works here is called ornithine transcarbamylase. After formation of citrulline, it now gets out from the mitochondria into the cytoplasm and combines with aspartate to form argininosuccinate. And as I have mentioned from a previous question, aspartate is the source of one of the ammonia in the urea molecule. So as you can see, one of the urea molecule nitrogen is coming from aspartate and another nitrogen is coming from ammonia, from this ammonia. And citrulline and aspartate bind together to form a very important structure, which is argininosuccinate. And the enzyme responsible for this reaction is called argininosuccinate synthetase. And argininosuccinate, after formation, now it breaks apart. It forms arginine and fumarate. And after arginine is formed, an enzyme called arginase act to release urea from arginine, and now the arginine becomes ornithine, which again goes to mitochondria to again start the cycle. So here you have the urea which will be excreted by the kidney. So the urea cycle is a process where the excess nitrogen generated during amino acid catabolism converted to urea in the liver and excreted by the kidneys. And the mnemonic for urea cycle is ordinarily careless scrappers are also frivolous about urination. So as you can see here, each of the first letter actually suggests to the names of the structures in the urea cycle. So O for ornithine, C for carbamyl phosphate, another C for citrulline, A for aspartate, A for arginosuccinate, F for fumarate, A for arginine, and U for urea. So we have another practice problem here. An infant born to a 32-year-old female demonstrates lethargy, vomiting, and seizures for her first few feedings. Initial laboratory evaluation demonstrates a markedly increased blood ammonium level. Liver biopsy suggests impaired formation of N-acetylglutamate as the cause of the child's problem. Now, which of the following reactions is most likely impaired in this patient? So this is a very easy question. The answer is A. So the enzyme is in A is called the carbamyl phosphate synthase 1. So carbamyl phosphate synthase 1 is a very important enzyme which requires N-acetylglutamate as a cofactor. So N-acetylglutamate synthase deficiency may lead to decreased level of N-acetylglutamate. So there will be increased level of ammonia in the blood because the urea cycle will be slowed down, and it presents in neonate as poorly regulated respiration and body temperatures, poor feeding, developmental delay, intellectual disability, and those are identical to the presentation of carbamyl phosphate synthase 1 deficiency. We have another practice problem here. A 2-year-old male demonstrates periodic lethargy, vomiting, and confusion. Laboratory testing reveals increased blood ammonium levels during those episodes, as well as markedly increased urine uric acid excretion. Which of the following enzymes is most likely to be deficient in this patient? The answer is ornithine transcarbamylase. So let's explain it. So ornithine transcarbamylase is one of the most common disorder of the urea cycle. It is X-linked recessive, unlike the other disorders of the urea cycle, and is often evident in the first few days of life. The most important presentation is hyperammonemia because there is decreased production of urea and decreased urea cycle, leading to increased accumulation of ammonia in the body. And the excess carbamyl phosphate that occurs due to decreased synthesis of citrulline from carbamyl phosphate and ornithine leads to an excess amount of carbamyl phosphate. So this carbamyl phosphate now will go to form uric acid, which is part of the pyrimidine synthesis pathway, and this uric acid will appear in the urine, causing uric aciduria. So the findings in the patient with ornithine transcarbamylase deficiency are increased uric acid in the blood and urine, decreased blood urea nitrogen, and symptoms of hyperammonemia. And one important difference between the uric aciduria and ornithine transcarbamylase deficiency is in case of uric aciduria you will have megaloblastic anemia, but in case of ornithine transcarbamylase deficiency you will not have any megaloblastic anemia. Thanks all for watching my video.